morning, and good morning, graduates. Ulumi nagokmehunga Chancellor, Tana how you magako I would like to first begin by thanking Chancellor Fraser for being my friend, first of all, and for giving me this great honor to become an honorary graduate of this wonderful university. And I want to take a moment to congratulate all the graduating students here today. And I have a lot of issues I could talk about today, but I thought a lot about what my message would be to you today. And that the most important issue we have since the residential school students and the survivors told their story about the trauma they experienced and the courage and the determination they had to tell their story to begin the conversation in Canada, that my message to you would be about reconciliation. So that's what I'll focus on for a few minutes. Before I begin, I just want to thank Sheila for being part of an organization that we have started in Canada that brings Canadians together, that is talking about what we are going to do as Canadians to bring Aboriginal peoples and non-Aboriginal Canadians together, to work together as partners in this great country of ours, and it's called the Canadians for a New Partnership. So thank you, Sheila, for being part of that. When I was Chancellor of Trent University a number of years ago, the end of the school year was always a time full of promise, and really the doorsteps to the next chapter of your lives. And today, I can feel that same anticipation. And I'm always inspired by convocations because I view universities as an early chapter in the lifelong journey of discovering your voice. In my own experience, figuring out what was important to me, what mattered, and finding the confidence to speak about it was not so much a deliberate act, it was a voice that emerged from threads of my own life experience. And Peter was very kind in talking about some of my life experience, so thank you, Peter, for that as well. And each generation, whether we are fully aware of it or not, we face nation-building questions. For instance, my generation of Inuit was the generation of Inuit who left our homes on the land and moved into communities throughout the Arctic. From there, we began the long journey that has taken decades of building communities and institutions and governments. Your generation's work on nation building will take many paths, but we probably are certain of one of these paths. Your generation will need to continue moving forward with reconciliation with Canada's First Peoples. And with the conclusion of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission on the residential schools experience, Canadians are asking, what does reconciliation look like, or what does it mean? So my personal view of reconciliation is the following. Not only is reconciliation the responsibility of our leaders, but it is also our responsibility as individuals to help make the kind of positive changes that we aspire to as people living in a great country like Canada. A better life for all Canadians, whether you are Indigenous or as other Canadians. And my whole life has been on a journey of reconciliation. What does our end of reconciliation look like as an Aboriginal person? Some Aboriginal peoples are focused on healing and recovery, which is related to resilience and mental health and looking at ourselves in a positive way. Some are focused on creativity and a cultural renaissance, which includes language, culture, our history, our knowledge, our research. And most Indigenous peoples are focused on self-determination, which includes leadership, governance, and developing our own institutions. Some are focused on economic development, and many are focused on basic survival. And most of us are focused on a mix of all those things. But reconciliation falls on all Canadians, not just Indigenous people. Reconciliation is about empathy, compassion for, and insight to building and restoring a relationship with Aboriginal Canadians. It is about seeing things differently than the narrative most Canadians know about Aboriginal peoples, and learning to do things differently from the previous generation. It is about making changes in power relationships. Reconciliation is about making changes in communication between groups in our communities that for the most part have lived separately. This is where your generation can make an enormous difference. So in conclusion, like me, I ask you to make this personal commitment and help move it forward and make the journey easier and the destination closer. Be part of finding solutions and common ground, and support the building of new partnerships between Inuit, First Nations, Métis, and other Canadians. We will all be the richer for it. Thank you very much.